Hello, it's Brian here, and today I decided to do a video on my collection of Byrds albums. BYRDS, the Byrds, started in the 60s and went on the 70s a bit. Sporadic reunions and stuff, mostly solo stuff after the 70s. I love the Byrds. I haven't listened to them too much recently, but I still just have a love for the band. And they're one of my faves. Behind me I do have Turn, Turn, Turn hanging up, the LP, their second album. And the first one I'm going to show is one that is probably a first for a lot of people, their greatest hits. That was released well after the psychedelic era, the start of the psychedelic era. I think it was 67 when it came out. And this is we got Roger here, Crosby. This was a tough one, I think. Let's see. Oh, that's gotta be Michael Clark, the drummer. And this is Chris Hillman. Just their start, the 64 to 67, Younger Than Yesterday album, those tracks. Pretty much all album tracks and singles, no frills there, no special tracks. And here is their debut, which I recently bought at a record store near me, so it's exciting to finally get this. Their first album with Mr. Tambourine Man. I don't have a lot of statements in mind, but this is their first album. It's really good. There's covers, lots of Dylan and other covers, and a few originals by Gene Clark, and co-writes as well. That's mostly all the originals come from Gene Clark, it seems like, a lot of covers. As he was more of a songwriter at the time. And this is basically Turn, 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 right there. This is just the LP. Very good album as well. Maybe better than their debut. I think some of the Gene Clarks are better on it, actually. Fewer Dylan covers on that one, just two. And more originals, and there's actually a original from Crosby and McGuinn together on it, so that's something. And I jump around a lot from my collection. The next one I have chronologically is the Notorious Byrd Brothers, a classic album in turmoil. Probably a lot of help from the producer. Classic sonically, and no Dylan covers here. There are covers though, at least one, and they kicked Crosby out of the band, and there's like 3 tracks from him at the time. So he was part of this, but I don't know if he plays on it, but he wrote a few songs and they used them. Here they are, Wanted. And rumor is that the horse is David Crosby, but I don't know for sure. That's kind of a rumor thing. I'll just show you some of the CDs to fill the gaps because I don't have these on LP. I'll show you some from the psychedelic era. This is Fifth Dimension, their first very affected psychedelic album. The one where Gene Clark leaves, he's kind of on it, a couple of writings and maybe backing vocals, but co-writes, but it's a new kind of album. Classic. And the next one is Younger Than Yesterday, another psychedelic album. arguably better than Fifth Dimension. A lot of great tracks on here. I'd say it's definitely stronger song-wise. One of my faves. And I have to show off Sweetheart of the Rodeo, the classic country affected album, more so than rock. It's very steeped in traditional tracks. I don't think there's a single original song on here. 2 Dylan covers and a bunch of country standards. And I guess there is an original song or two from the band member who's only on this album, Graham Parsons. So, but I don't know, it's almost not like a Byrds album in a way. He's almost not like a Byrd because he had such a brief tenure, but he's definitely one of the best parts of the Byrds. The next one I have is Dr. Byrds and Mr. Hyde. This is the first album with the only original member left, Roger McGuinn. At least one Dylan cover on here, and a lot of other covers and originals as well, but not too much. I like the album, but definitely not their best. The next one is The Ballad of Easy Rider, capitalizing on that contribution to that soundtrack. A lot of covers on this album again, but it's still a pretty good album. Some of the new band members step up and contribute songs and interesting things, lead vocals and parts. The cover for McGuinn, who sang all the leads on Dr. Byrds and Mr. Hyde. So this is a little more of the getting more settled with the new Byrds of the 70s. This was released in '69, but you probably know what I mean. I like this album, maybe more than the one before, but it's definitely not the best either. And here's the Byrds Untitled, a double album. We got a live album and a studio album, each on each LP. I like this record a lot, and it firmly shows the Byrds as a good 70s rock band live, and still some pretty strong material, studio material as well. Though it had, I guess it's more of an acquired taste and not immediately accessible, but you can definitely find a lot of good stuff on this record, and just have to be a little open-minded and okay with certain developments in the band and how it changed into a different band, basically. And the last one of the Byrds proper before they kind of broke up, that I own at least, is Bird Maniacs, which is another good album. I really like the album. There's some cool covers and kind of a quasi-gospel thing on a couple tracks, and some nice acoustic songs and country as well, and a little zany, silly songs as well. So it's a great album. I really like it a lot. And here's the Byrds reunion album. Kind of a year or two after the one I showed, but it's the original band again, and here they are. They're on the front too, but Gene Clark is back. He brings 2 songs. I like this record, but it's not the best either. It's definitely a fun listen. Not really sure what to say, but you could say that Crosby kind of spearheaded this after becoming a superstar, and it made the album sell well, but it didn't really stick with the public consciousness. No real hits, but definitely good stuff. And this is my last Byrds adjacent album, I guess. This is interesting. From the time of disco and the Eagles really hitting it big, and Fleetwood Mac, them kind of trying to do that kind of thing with interesting producers and a different kind of sound and texture from the good old boys of the Byrds. Three original members together kind of trying to do a thing, and it kind of works in a way. I like this album, but it's not the greatest either. It just doesn't quite stick together, but I really like it. I'm glad I have it. Yeah, I think it's just titled that, McGuinn, Clark, and Hillman. So Gene Clark, not Michael Clark. Thank you for watching. All the best. Just wanted to make a quick video. Cheers.